welcome back to my channel, YouTubers. This is Roxanne Holland from Rox's Cards and Crafts, and today I'm bringing you these beautiful Eclipse cards with a frame around them. So maybe you could call them a floating frame Eclipse card. Don't know, but we'll stick with the Eclipse card. Alright. I'm teaching you how to design your template. By template I mean the card topper and the that's so you know how big to bring in this image. So this is a printed graphic. Alright, you can also do these cards with stamps, but they just look phenomenal with a printed graphic, like a watercolor type of graphic. I'll quickly talk about where I got these designs from. So this is called Smoke Flower and it's from the Hungry JPEG. These dies that you use here and here are from sets of nesting dies, so thinlet dies that you use with a big shot. So you don't need a cutter or a plotter, for example, as like a cricket or a silhouette or a brother scanning cart, to do these cards at all. These particular dies are stitched die frames, and that's what I'll be using today. Now the font I have used is Bitai Script. I got that one from Creative Fabrica, but I believe you'll be able to find that on dafont.com. I also want to bring in mind before we do this that I want you to go and download, if you have a Windows, I want you to download Character Map UWP. And for Mac users, I believe it's Font Book. Okay, moving on to our templates. Here I've used the nesting dies, and for the two that I'm using, these are the inner and the outer dimensions. So that will be placed on the card base, as well as that being placed on the card base. So my card bases are 8 by 6, and then I score them at 4 inches, and then my card topper is 1/4 of an inch in when it's placed on top of the card, and that is what holds your design. And that's the template, and by template I mean it is going to give you a visual, and this is for visual only. This will give you a visual on how to size your graphic design. It will make more sense as I go on. So as I said, this bit here will sit on your actual card, so you can go back to this to see what I do if you want to do it my way, or if you use your own card style. This is just giving you my dimensions. We're going to move ahead and we're going to show you basically what I mean. I'm just going to whiz through and make the card template, and I'm going to resize this. So my width is 3.75 and the height is 5.75. So that is the template that we're working with. So to bring in the image, for Shortcuts a Lot 5, we're going File and Import. I've got it open here, Smoke Flowers, and I will select the image that I used, which is that one. So I'll double click that. I'm just going to put that over there for the minute. Now we need to make our template for the die that we're using. So whatever size die that you have, and then I'm going to duplicate that, so Control D and just press 2, and then I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to make the dimensions on this one. So the width is 1.5, which is roughly 2 3/8. So just press enter, and I'll make that, it doesn't matter what colour that is. So to make the frame, I need to cut the innard out of there just for visuals, as I said before. So we're going to align that middle horizontally and middle vertically, and I'm going to go to Path, Exclude, and that will give you your visual template for your visual topper card. Now this particular one was on landscape view, so I'm going to position that like that. So let's just go with that for the time being. I'm going to hide that die, so I don't need that anymore. And then you need to do the dear friend. So when you are doing the fancy characters, it's always nice, I feel, to make sure you look at the way the tail is going. Right, so that F there has more of an impact being that way. The D has more of an impact going that way because it won't interfere with the F. And the D on this end is going that way. So it's all nice and symmetrical. So I've brought in the ordinary ones. It saves you going. Why I've done that, and you'll get used to this. When you open up a font, most of the ordinary bits are up the top. So they're there. So this is essentially what I've brought in. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, you'll get the characters, the swishes and the tails down here. And it just saves you going back and forth, which can be very tedious. Again. So let me show you how to bring in this dear friend. You need to select the text box here. Right. So I'm going to get you to come over to your fonts. Now I've got mine in favorites. So I'm going to select BitTypeScript. Click back over here and go EAR space just to make it easier, and RIEN. Then going into your library, it should already be there. Scroll down to the next section away from the ordinary fonts, and we're going to go to the swirly bits. So we've got the cursor at the end for the D with the swirly tail facing the right hand side like these. So find your D and double click on that. Then we'll go to the front of the R and go and find that special F with the tail going that way. Double click. And then we'll go to the front of the word. Make sure it's in the same line, and we're going to select the D with the tail shooting off to the left. Alright, so we're finished with our, we don't need a special character map basically in Shortcut Select 5, but if you look at one of my other tutorials, I will show you how character map UWP will work. Shortcuts a lot 5. So you need to go in there and highlight it. I'll just make it a bit bigger for you now. And we're going to right click and we're going to ungroup. So the deer is pretty much all we need to do is move this F so that it sits over the R like it does in this one here. And then you can highlight all of these, right click and group, and move those over to the best of your ability because you are going to weld them. Alright, so let's, before we weld them, we don't want this tail here. Highlight all of those. So we didn't get the D, so just press Shift and select that. And I'm just going to group them for now. Yep. Then we're going to look at it close up. To inspect the joins, and really the only one we should need to inspect is the one we moved, which was the F. We do need to fix that up a little bit. So keeping in mind these are still grouped, so ungroup them and move that so it sits perfectly to the R. Let's go to View, Fit to Window, so that takes us back to normal. Highlight all of that, go to Path and then Union. Okay, just open that up a little bit more. So now you're ready to place and resize your text. It actually looks a lot better if it's not a stark black on the card. So let's go a grey. And then your stroke will do that the same colour. Nice. I'm just going to get rid of that. Yes! None. Here we go. Alright, we've still got an outline, so we need the stroke colour to be nil. So go into your file, print setup. I'm going to do A4. Press OK. And then I'm going to just recheck that, and that'll show where it will print. So I can move that now. So I want to make sure they're all grouped. And I'm going to move that in to the corner. And while it's highlighted, I'm going to press Control D and make another duplicate. Right? So I can see that it's still within the print borders. It's going to give me plenty of room. I'm going to go to File and then Print. And then I'll show you at the reveal. Okay, so putting this card together, this is the easy part once you have designed it all. So we just need some foam tape. These are the nested dies, but these are the two that you did a template on. So they're stuck together so that they're nice and even. All right. There's your printed card template. There's the background. So that's your 3.75 by 5.75, and that's just add a little bit more for a background. I think it looks better with a background. And there's your card base. So we will stick this card, this colour, to the card base first. Make sure that it's going the right way. And if you get this all looking even, it should fall pretty much in line around the rest of it all. All right, so the next step is, so this design, we made it, so we designed it so that it went landscape. And we're not cutting it on this that we just stuck, that was just there for show. And I'm going to bring the magnetic plate over and put the more damaged one because the die is facing down. And you are going to put it over, taking particular notice of how much on the side you have so it's looking nice and even. So when you designed this in the program, this is the template you did. It doesn't have to be in that position. It was just so that you knew, right, when you printed it, that you would have some bits coming out of the frame. So this one had the gold frame around it, and I've got it so that it looks even on the inside as much as you can, which makes it not even on the outside. But look, it doesn't really matter. You can look at that next time. But the frame has got the same distance on the bottom. I'm more interested in them being perfectly straight and looking good on the side. Now, you need to take out, and that's what you're left with there. Now, I would, at this point, take a pencil and just mark like the tops of your card. All right, because if you've got a messy desk and whatnot and it goes all over the place, all right, so that's just been taken out of there. Because when you've got all this around it, you can't really tell. So having done that, what I want to do is I'm going to now stick this topper to this base. And I'll just use a bit of glue for that. I just use glitter glue with everything. I find it the best. And that's going to come in a little bit more from the other one. Now, I've seen when people make these on YouTube, there's two ways you can pop this into there. One, sometimes they put the outside in first, and the other one I've seen them glue that and put it in, which I prefer to do. So what I just do is grab some snail glue and see the arrow, it's pointing up, and leave it all in there. And I just make sure I try and lay that in all properly, and then I hold that down and lift that up. All right, so hopefully that is nice and straight. I think I've done 1 and 2 where they're not. So then you're going to now, so that's got the arrow on it. Now you can take that out, being very careful that when you punch it out, you don't leave any nail prints, because it will show up on this card. It's ever so delicate. Ask me how I know. So we've popped that out. So there are 2 ways you can do to lift up your frame. You can use your foam tape, which is a lot less mucking around and a lot easier, a lot cleaner, I do believe. Or keeping your dies still at the same as what you have done with this, cut it out on white cardstock. Once again, turning it over and putting the arrow, okay. Popping them out and putting them all the same way. And then gluing these together, which I'll do off camera. All right, so this is using the 3 white bits cut out of the die underneath. But I must say, it's a lot more work. You have to really make sure that they're really stuck really well together. For that reason, I prefer using foam tape. So I'm just going to use my foam tape. By using foam tape, you can bring it and make sure it's in the middle. All right, so we'll take off the backing. And believe it or not, we are nearly done. Now I've covered up the little arrow with the way it goes. However, you should be able to tell. So you want to then make sure you line up the lines. So the lines are lined up there. So just gently press. All that so it looks. And there is your lovely card. I did add a little bit more round, but that's just a matter of bringing in more flowers or other PNGs to make it look like it's paint. I did a happy birthday in black and cut it out. So very lovely card to give away. And that is the end. But once you get the hang of it, you'll be bringing in all sorts of images and cutting like this in no time. So really thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. And let me know if there's something else that I can show you that you're interested in learning. Bye for now.